Hola, bonjour, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the ThoughtPod. Today, we're thrilled to have our guest, Mr. Leo Thompson from Edsplorer, who is reshaping the way students think and schools operate. We can't wait to hear his story and insights. Welcome, Leo.
Thank you, and namaste. It's a real pleasure to be here and join you and speak to you all, whilst also talking to Reanssh.
Thank you, sir. Let's start by knowing how you were as a student. What were you like as a student during your teenage years?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be more of a confession than information, I think. If I'm really honest with you, I had some good traits, but I had some areas that I would have needed to work on. So I think my sort of number one trait was curiosity.
Okay.
And I like to look things up and read in books and read different materials and do research. This is way before the internet. And that was my sort of good trait. And I think I was quite a nice and amiable student. But my works or areas to work on, I would say probably a bit more self-control, self-monitoring and organization and planning skills. So these are all things we can work on today.
Correct.
But back then, I guess that was quite normal for people of my generation. So good question.
Yeah. Was there anything about school you found especially challenging?
Yeah, I think school a lot of the time is a little bit boring, actually. And I didn't feel particularly engaged in school a lot of the time. I found myself mind wandering, sometimes daydreaming. There were some fantastic teachers and subjects I loved more than others, but quite often I found I didn't see the relevance or significance or importance.
Yes, I'm going to follow up on that. Did any teacher or school experience stand out that shaped how you learn or thought now?
Yeah, there were a few teachers who came over to me as just really authentic, just really genuine people. And those are the ones who really caught my attention. And you'd see the other sides of them, but you also knew that they cared about you.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, one of the history teachers, his name was Mr. Atkinson, I don't think I've ever mentioned this, was teaching us about First and Second World War and the impact of it and significance. And one day he started crying.
Oh.
And I thought I'd never seen a teacher cry before. And he was normally very amiable and humorous. And he told stories about the Holocaust. And for me, I realized that teachers bringing their whole selves and being genuine was just really important.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try connect to that. What is one lesson from your school days that sticks with you today, that you remember once in a while?
Well, I'm a bit of a sports fan, and I remember this event that we were playing cricket with a school that was, let's just say, a first-class cricket school, a private school, and ours was just a regular sort of comprehensive school. And we got taken on this trip down to a place called Southampton on the southern English coast, and we won.
Oh.
And it was completely against the odds. And I remember the teacher taking us out and buying us fish and chips, which used to be the number one English takeaway. It's been replaced by Indian food.
Still one of my
now.
favorite snacks.
Good. Well, we can trade because I love Indian food as well. But that will always stand out in my memory as a very special day.
Correct. Now let's see, the new generation's coming up, correct? All this technology, all this jazz. What is your take on AI right now?
Well, okay. Friend and foe. Tremendous opportunities with AI, particularly as an assistive technology and generative AI. And so there's just so many ways that it would also solve medical problems and other world issues. And from that, it's a really fantastic tool. Because what I do is focused on learning, I'm very interested in how AI can assist learning and support learning. There are risks with AI that we do something called cognitive offloading, or where it's called the Google effect, where we just rely on the machine to do the thinking, and then we don't develop our own thinking. So as long as it's used well and it's used thoughtfully, as a sort of coach or a mentor or even as a tutor, it can be a fantastic tool. But we need to teach children how to walk that path.
Yeah.
And we need to be honest about when it's doing too much cognitive offloading and too much of the work. So it's costing us our own intellectual development. So I'm always going to be a HI before AI, and HI, you might guess, is human intelligence.
Correct. Yeah. So in your perspective as an Edsplorer, what is your take on students learning with AI, using AI to do their homework, let's say?
I wouldn't have it do my homework, but it could assist my homework.
Mhm.
And again, I think it's the calibration and setting. So if you're using it as a questioning tool to help you connect concepts and connect ideas, and it requires very certain sort of programming for it to
Mhm.
do that, then maybe. But there are times when we should just put the tools away and focus on our organic and natural tools that we've got and develop
Mhm.
those as well. So I think it's very much context independent.
So, like for studying, it would be useful.
Could be,
Yeah.
depending on the task and the nature of
Okay.
the task.
Cool.
So
What's one thing, if you had to redo the current education system, what do you think would not make the cut?
wow, that's such a big question. I mean, there's education in India, there's education in different cities in India, there's different systems. The world has more than 8 million schools.
Yeah.
India's got a fair chunk of those schools. And of course, this school is very unique in its philosophy and what it's trying to do. I believe education should be a holistic model that is there to equip and empower all children, all
Mhm.
children.
Yeah.
And if it has that in its sights, then it's definitely going to make more changes further down in the typical education model, which it currently is a little bit too much focus on rote learning and what we call
The routine.
hyper assessment.
Yeah.
So we need to change those settings a little bit to make
Mhm.
sure that we are equipping children for the future as we see it, knowing that the future is very unpredictable and
Mhm.
we don't have a crystal ball. So for me, it's about giving children a toolkit or a power pack that they can then navigate
Yeah.
any circumstances as learners.
Okay. So, what do you think? How do you personally believe students learn best in what environment?
Okay, well, there's 5 types of engagement we can
Oh
look
yeah.
at in education. If we break those down, that might help us in terms of answering that question. Is another very good and thoughtful question. So we have things like social engagement,
Yeah.
where we participate together and we trading ideas.
Correct.
And this morning, I started learning when I visited the school, and I went down into the STEAM space and I saw the projects and things. And social engagement is very important. But then we have, say, emotional engagement as well, and that opens the door to learning. So how can we make learning really interesting and relevant to students so they can connect it to their world? Then we have sort of other forms like behavioural engagement. And that's really just participation in a school environment, in a learning environment, and that's where we want all students to be involved and part of it. But there's two more I want to come to. One is I would call agentic, which is where we have more voice and more choice and more say in our learning. And that's really important to students.
Yeah.
And often that is lost in an education system, which is very sort of top down, you will do this, you will do that. So involving student voice, choice in projects is a fantastic way of engaging students because it's part of them. And then the final one is very important for learning, which is known as cognitive engagement,
Correct.
which is thinking. So the more we can link thinking with how and why questions, we go up the model a little bit to deeper questions as well, not just what, is a very powerful way of helping students develop. So really it's a combination of all 5.
Yeah. So what I've seen right now, Explorers, one of the major goals of Explorer is inclusivity, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, fans, okay, viewers, just in the corner here, put up the inclusivity umbrella that Mr. Leo has worked on himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the question, sir.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, really important. And sometimes education, we have a sort of bell curve model where it's teaching more to the middle or to the top. And that's a distortion of the world. Everybody's important. And if you teach children how to learn, they can smash through any glass ceilings they've had in society, which it could, in other systems, would hold them back.
Yeah.
Learning is the gateway to creating something and taking ownership of your future. So teach children how to learn.
Yeah. Finally, what advice would you give to students listening today who would want to make the most of their learning journey?
I think it begins with belief and self-belief. And this is an important biological lesson here, but one of my areas around the learning sciences is human potential.
Mm-hmm.
And what we now know is there's a lot of myths in society that hold children back, and they're faulty beliefs. And they're just everywhere. So, for instance, every person's unique potential is huge.
Yeah.
Every child begins life with something like 100 billion neurons. It's not like one child has 10, one has 20,
Yeah.
one has 150. It's very similar. And because the way the brain learns is a bit more like a plant, it's about branches and shoots coming out and making connections. That's how memories are formed. That's how thinking works.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make children aware that they can take more ownership of their own development and their own nurturing through practice, through connecting things. All learning is linking.
Yeah.
And so I want children to feel that sense of empowerment and belief. Their brains are not bricks.
Kind of like a web. Like a web.
Like a web.
Yeah.
And the more they can make more connections in that web, they're developing something called schemas, which are like frameworks of thinking. And that means they'll be able to problem solve. They'll be more creative because they know more and their brains are more interconnected. And that's a secret that should not be a secret in this world.
Okay. So what inspired you to focus on education and helping students learn differently?
Do you know, I fell into education almost by accident. I was working in technology and sales and marketing and solving technical solutions. And I realized I didn't like sales. I just do not enjoy sales. But what I enjoyed was explaining things to people. And a big part of being able to teach is explaining.
Yeah.
And if you can explain well, then people can learn more effectively. So I kind of came in sideways. And that took me in as an English teacher. So I used to teach English language and literature.
Yeah.
And then that developed into all sorts of other things.
Okay. So thinking back to your entire journey, what is one achievement that you're particularly proud of?
I think what I really, really enjoy the most, I don't know if it's an achievement, but just generally part of me, is trying to simplify very complex things and break them down to build little models and infographics that people can use, like the inclusion umbrella, to stimulate their thinking or to see things differently. And if I can reframe education and learning for a child, their whole future will look different. So it's a cognitive challenge, but I think that's something that I'm quite proud of and has taken me an enormous amount of work.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect at it, but I'm getting better.
Yeah. When you look back at your impact so far, what effect do you hope your work has done on students and schools?
Change their belief.
Yeah.
Change their fundamental belief and the fundamental way that they see learning. And a couple of days ago, I was up in Jamnagar working with one of the Reliance schools. And after the workshop, a student came to me and he said, it was like entering a portal into a different dimension. And I now see learning very, very differently to the way I saw it before. And he said that he felt school was much more relevant to him.
Yeah.
So that for me, that meant everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And what keeps you motivated to keep exploring, innovating in education every day?
People like you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Because that's where all teachers, we get our energy from the students, sometimes from the caffeine that we drink and too much coffee, but it's really from students, and the feedback from students inspires us, and that's the fuel to keep going.
Okay, so let's lighten the mood. It's time for the rapid fire questions. Okay, so we're going to fire some quick questions and you have to answer as fast as you can. Favorite city?
Bangalore.
Favorite Indian food?
Chicken tikka masala.
One word.
Probably not even Indian.
One word on Bangalore traffic.
Like a video game? Just one life.
What's your favorite place to relax?
My favorite place to relax, I would say, on the beach with a book.
What's the funniest nickname you've ever had?
Well, my first name is Leo, and some of my friends just tease me and call me Leotard.
Yeah. What's one word for school life?
Connected.
If you had one chance, what would be an Explorer's mascot?
A lion.
A lion. Okay. What's your favorite way to unplug after a day?
Going for a walk
Uh-huh.
or playing sports.
What's your best infographic made? Yeah.
I would say one that I haven't really shared yet, which is about how we learn and the techniques that we can use to deepen and strengthen our memory.
Okay. What's one book that changed you?
The most powerful book on learning that I've read is How We Learn by a neuroscientist called Stanislas Dehaene. And he's got little scans and photos of babies' brains, and he tells the truth about how we really learn.
And the last one, what's your favorite city visited that for work?
I've been to a lot. I absolutely loved my time in Chandigarh, up in North India. And it just showed me a very different part of India and world, and I found it very spiritual.
And for you, are you a thinking person or a doing person?
I would say both.
Both? Okay. So thank you, Leo, so much for joining us today. Your insights remind us that learning isn't just about books. It's about learning the entire picture of education. It's about curiosity, creativity, and exploring the world. To everyone listening, stay curious, be an explorer, keep discovering, and keep learning.
That's
Thank
wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you.